I liked it a lot. Now, I've got to be honest, I have somewhat of a biased view of this because I saw the film when I was 11 years old. Well, it was the first Alien film that I'd seen. And a friend and I, we sat there in front of what must have been about a 14-inch TV, watching it on VHS, all the lights off, and I was completely immersed in the film, completely bowled over by the atmosphere. I hadn't seen a film like that before at all, and it made an impression. I try and be objective with it, but I do have a personal fondness for the film, I can't deny that. Now, the special effects of the film have been criticised over the years. It's often labelled as being a film that has poor special effects, but I don't think that's entirely fair. I mean, this was early 90s, so they didn't use CGI. They superimposed a rod puppet for, wide shots where the alien would be running on the ceiling. It's fair to say that, some of those effects may not hold up so well by today's standards, but, it's a reasonable effort, and I think in the theatrical cut, there's only maybe one or two shots that I find jarring, and I don't think it's enough to really hurt the film that much. And it's also worth noting that the animatronic effects, the puppet work and the costume work, all of that stuff for the close-ups of the alien snarling and drooling and everything, that work is first rate. I mean, it's got some of the best close-ups of the alien, opening its mouth and sticking its tongue out in the whole franchise, particularly notable in that iconic shot where Ripley has a close encounter with the xenomorph in the infirmary. Despite the dark tone of the film and its reputation for being so dark and somber, there is quite an uplifting sentiment in the film, which is that you've got these inmates who are hopeless. They've done some of the worst crimes, they're all in there for crimes like rape and murder. It would seem that they're at the end of the road in life. There's no more potential for them, and yet through the circumstances of the film, an opportunity arises for them to at least play a part in saving the world from the xenomorph, and therefore they find some purpose in life. And in keeping with the religious leadings of Dylan and their way of life in that regard, they find possible redemption when it would have seemed inconceivable, at least before the arrival of Ripley. There's something quite uplifting and nice about that sentiment, and of course, Ripley's sacrifice at the end is sort of the ultimate courageous act for the greater good. The third act of the film, it's pretty exciting, and the film does, of course, in terms of excitement level, it doesn't achieve anywhere near the level of Aliens, and it would be pretty much ridiculous to make that comparison. But it's a different film in a different style. But when things really do kick off towards the end, and you've got the alien hurtling down the tunnels after the inmates and so on, and it builds up to a very, very dramatic finale with Dylan's heroic self-sacrifice, Ripley's heroic self-sacrifice. Some really nice visuals as well. I mean, the alien POV hurtling down the corridors, I think that works quite well. And, really nice cinematography throughout the film as well. Some people criticise the killing off of the characters from Aliens. If you look at Alien 1 to 4, they all stand alone quite well. And I do believe a sequel or an instalment in a series ideally should stand on its own 2 feet. It should be something that can be watched and appreciated without having necessarily seen all the other films in the franchise. Alien 3 does that well, so they basically wipe the slate clean. It's pretty much in keeping with the series. I mean, apart from the end of Aliens, every Alien film, and Alien Resurrection, but at least, the first film ended with all the characters but Ripley being wiped out, which left the way clear for the second film to establish a new set of characters. And so Alien 3, starts things afresh, but it may be grim and people might not like it, but hey, they're not real people, and it does set the tone of the film well. It's dark, and it adds to the sense of hopelessness, and also the sense of helplessness for Ripley. I mean, she's there now stranded on a prison planet with a bunch of, potentially very dangerous men. So not having Hicks there, having Bishop out of action and leaving her alone there, and her loneliness is in keeping with that mournful tone, and, also putting her in harm's way. So it felt perfectly appropriate to me. It never bothered me, even when I saw the film when I was a kid. I think if you want to be engaged in the characters of Aliens, then you watch Aliens, and then when you watch Alien 3, well, that's a new chapter, it's different, and okay, they're not there, but I think it was the right decision. I mean, all of the main cast are very impressive, and Sigourney Weaver got an Oscar nomination for Aliens, but actually her performance in Alien 3, it should be noted that it's got arguably some of the most emotional moments from the whole franchise, particularly when she asks Dylan to end her suffering and kill her after she's found out that she's got an alien queen inside her. There's lots of scenes like that are pretty powerful, and of course the funeral, one of the best scenes in the film, and one which really gives you a glimpse of David Fincher's genius, is the juxtaposition of the birth of the alien from the dog, and in the special edition an ox, but the dog version's better, with the funeral. The funeral's got a lot of pathos, and of course the suffering of the dog adds to that, and it fits perfectly with what Dylan's giving in his speech as well. There's powerful scenes in the film like that. It's really got a strong performance from her there. Particularly impressive of Brian Glover and Charles Dutton, who really seem to be their characters. I mean, they are really inhabiting those characters, and they achieve what you'd hope, the furthest you could hope for an actor to achieve, which is to make you forget that you're watching a performer and actually believe that these are these people. And certainly with the Superintendent Andrews and Dylan, I mean, the performances of the actors really give you the impression that they've been walking in those shoes, living that life for quite some time. So they're very convincing. And Charles Dance brings some heart to the film. It's got a unique atmosphere, which gives it, sort of a unique style and identity, to stand out in the series. The look of the film is great. Lots of shadows, lots of lighting, which evokes, kind of being in an inferno, a subterranean setting. And that helps the dark tone of the film. And that's established right in the opening credits with a wonderful score. And the music throughout the film's very moody, and you've got that kind of music cue, which gives the whole thing an atmosphere of impending doom. Now, nowadays, a lot of blockbuster films have quite a melancholy tone, and they go for something a bit darker. It's perhaps a bit more common now, but I think at the time, for a big smash hit blockbuster, have quite such a dark and melancholy tone was something a bit different. It provided a glimpse of what David Fincher had to offer, and his sensibilities paved the way for what was going to come later. Some people have criticised the film for a lot of the characters being too indistinguishable, lots of bald-headed English inmates, running down tunnels and shouting. But there's some distinctive and memorable characters among the main ones, and of course some of them don't last too far into the film, and some people have had mixed feelings about that as well. But it keeps things unpredictable, and while they are there, they do make an impression. I've been Sam Skempton. I hope you enjoyed the talk. If you'd like to see more from this channel, please like and subscribe. Let's keep the discussion going in the comments below, and I'll see you next time here on Film Time.